Real time. Real time. Real time reactions. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What it do? I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Mm. Yeah. Yep. This what we doing today. This what we doing. I'm just doing some real time reactions. That's what I like to do. Well, I'm gonna say I say real time because I got a couple of fellas that I keep getting my information from. Of course, I'm in tune to the news, and of course, I give you my own thoughts as well. But I'm going to be reacting to the Black conservative perspective today, and definitely my brother Anton. Oh my goodness, that's what we're doing. That's what we're gonna do. Kamala Harris had her interview last night, and we got to talk about it because that wasn't much of an interview. First of all, you got you got 28 minutes, maybe 18 between two people, after waiting probably almost 40 days. And that's what you get. That's how this person really sees us. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. First of all, they propped her with the questions. So she already know the questions ahead of time. And then we see what she needed her notes. So those are the notes that she need against Donald Trump. It's crazy. I can't even believe, when are the independents gonna be offended? When are the Democrats who are supporting this gonna be offended? Let's react to it, man. Let's get to it. After waiting, probably like I said, over a month, and we finally get to hear from Kamala Harris in her first what they call an interview. And first of all, with all of the man bashing that's been going on by the Democrats, with all of the male testosterone that's been going on by the Democrats, with all of the too much male dominance going on by the Democrats. We see it in movies. They're just trying to turn down the man. After all of that, she needs a man by her side to do her first interview. What kind of weakness is that? The same white men that they've been bashing for the last, 2 years, the same white male testosterone that they've been bashing and trying to take out of movies, commercials, not too much as black, because they don't get those type of roles, and that it's not been known and tied to the black man, because it's always the white man, and they've been talking about it. They've been talking about it so much you almost forget that Kamala Harris's husband was white. I'm like, wow. Where's Joy Reid now? But anyway, so she did her first interview. And like I say, I'm reacting in real time to Black conservative perspective right now. So I just trust it enough to know, and we just gonna react to what's going down.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. You know, that we have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities. I think about this issue through the lens of my baby nieces, who are 1.5 and 3 years old. And when I look at those babies and I think about what the world will be like in 20 years if we don't act, I'm really afraid. And as it relates to those Republicans in Congress, where I've now been for 2.5 years, every one of those members need to look at the babies, the grandbabies in their life, and then look in the mirror and ask themselves, why have they failed to act?
And in 2019, you said, quote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the highly anticipated Kamala Harris interview for people who like to critically think, okay? If you're one of these people who are like, you know, I actually want to know what the person I'm voting for or I'm considering voting for actually thinks, yes, this was the interview for you, okay? However, for a vast majority of people on the left, they really didn't care to hear Kamala Harris basically embarrass herself doing this interview, because that's exactly what happened, okay? This interview was an absolute train wreck, and it really shows you why Kamala Harris and her team were so afraid of her doing these types of interviews in the first place, because they do not have any answers for the questions that the American people have for them surrounding the lies, the flip-flopping, the gaslighting, the terrible record. And that's basically the summary of this interview. And it's not like Dana Bash really did a good job of pressing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, her emotional support person, doing this interview. So I want to break down some portions of the interview. This video is mainly going to be my opinion on it, my reaction, okay? Maybe another video I will talk about everybody else's reaction, the mainstream liberal media reaction to it. But for right now, this is just my reaction to it because I watched it last night, and yeah, it was a disaster. So let's start with Tim Walz. Tim Walz was confronted on his claims of stolen valor, okay? When I say confronted,
I just want to remind people who Dana Bash is. Dana Bash, the lady doing the interview, is also the same lady that Joe Biden chose. Joe Biden chose to do the debate with Trump. All right, so I'm saying that because we already know that Dana Bash is definitely going to do a softball interview. That's why she was chosen. Remember, Kamala Harris turned down turned down Fox. She's going to turn down anybody who has tough questions, basically. She'll turn me down. She'll turn anybody down probably at this point, unless they're in high school or CNN. And so, we're probably going to talk to a Joy Reid and, people like that. She'll probably go on The View again, that type of thing. So just remember, Dana Bash is somebody who they got also Joe Biden picked when it was time to do the debate against Trump. I think it was Dana Bash and Jake, what do you call him? Fake Tapper, Jake Tapper. So Dana Bash is kind of already an agent for the Democrats. She's not hidden that at no point in time, and so she couldn't make this interview tough at all. She had to make it more like softballs. And we already know that they gave Kamala Harris a 28 question list of questions that may be asked. So she was prepared. She had her notes, as you could see. I don't know if you watched the interview, but when you could see it a little bit closer, she had to read her notes all the time. She couldn't even face the camera. So it was pretty ugly. It was pretty ugly. Let's go on. Let's go on with this here.
Why he lied about his military service.
The country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform.
I'm sorry about that, but I do want to say this: she didn't do it. She didn't do it with him. But I want you to notice, it's important to watch the interview because every question she asked Kamala Harris, every question that she asked Kamala Harris, she would actually give her at least multiple choice on answers. She was basically asking her questions and then would say, is it because of this, or this, and this? So she was basically asking her questions, then giving her a multiple choice of answers for her to choose from. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, like I said, she didn't really do it with Tim Harris. She's just giving him an opportunity to explain all his lies that he's been caught in. Deja from YouTube, always thank you. Miss Kamala Emoff Harris, the black last name. She uses her stage name, aka race bait name. That's right. Oh, that's what you know what? I swear I've been hearing the Emoff and I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know where it came from. I didn't. Jonathan, what's up, my brother?
Uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is.
Is this how she's gonna be looking at Chi? I mean, gee whiz, you see this? Is this how she's going to be looking at the leaders of the worlds, making deals while they're talking about their country, while they're talking about leading their country, while they're talking about doing what's best to lead their countrymen, which means putting your country first? Is this
Candidly, I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools.
Oh man, that's crazy. That is crazy, crazy, crazy.
And around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is. And again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war, did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting.
She just did it. Did you misspeak? Did you misspeak? Did you misspeak? No, he lied.
The ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's
my tone of grammar is not always correct.
An attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
I just one other question, because again, this is all new.
Yeah.
This was not however many days ago. This was not on either of your bingo cards, especially yours. You had to clarify that you had said that you and your wife used IVF, but it turned out you used a different kind of fertility in order to have children. And then when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunken.
She's actually, I mean, like, this lady is actually asking these questions apologetically. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta ask you this. So different from the way they attack the other guy, just totally different. He didn't listen to his exact words. He's telling the truth, just his truth. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what you do. Let's go.
Reckless driving. What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they for drunk and reckless driving? What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they can take you at your word?
Well, I've been very public. I think they can see my students come out, former folks I've served with, and they vouch for me. I certainly own my mistakes when I make them. The one thing I'll tell you is I wished in this country wouldn't have to do this. I spoke about our infertility issues because it's hell, and families know this. And I spoke about the treatments that were available to us that that had those beautiful children there. That's quite a contrast in folks.
Answering the question at all, okay? This guy basically says that, hey, yeah, I lied about my military service because my grammar was off, right? My grammar was off. My grammar's not all that good, okay? But you got to understand, I was talking about weapons of war in schools, except there are no weapons of war being used in school shootings. Now, if Dana Bash was actually a good journalist, okay, instead of a propagandist, because that's what she did in this interview, right? I'm gonna tell you, the biggest loser of this interview was Dana Bash, okay, because she just showed the world, like, yeah, you're a propagandist. You are soft, okay, because that's what this interview was. She should have followed up and said, listen, first and foremost, there are no weapons of war in school. A federal abortion ban when Trump has already come out and said, no, we're not doing that. Okay, he said that, but she didn't push back. She didn't correct him the same way that she would have corrected him had a Republican made a statement about Kamala's policies that the mainstream liberal media feels like, oh, well, that's misleading or that's wrong about where she stands, even though nobody really knows where she stands because, I guess, she hasn't really done any interviews. They'll come out here and they'll try to play defense for Kamala Harris and to correct the Republican in ways that they would never do for Democrats. They just allow Democrats to falsely state what Republicans want to do all day long, and there will never be that last second interjection at the end of the answer to correct that individual the same way that they like to do with Republicans. Okay, just look at Dana Bash's interview with JD Vance versus this interview that she did with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
And I don't want to hear from a campaign spokesperson of Kamala Harris. I want to hear Kamala Harris herself address what I just said.
You know, I've seen a lot of statements from veterans, including those you served with, saying it's just untoward to be criticizing somebody who served for 24 years.
Dana, I'm not interested in the ad hominem. I've heard from a lot of veterans groups who criticize Tim Walz. The question is, he said he served in war, and he didn't. That is a dishonesty. I couldn't care less what one or the other person says about it. I care about what the truth is. The truth is that Tim Walz didn't tell the truth. And importantly, Dana, this is about Kamala Harris's judgment. And I think that when you ask, why has Kamala Harris allowed the border to be wide open? Why has Kamala Harris supported policies that have promoted the increase in inflation? I think it goes to the heart of her judgment, and I think that that's what we should be talking about.
One last question. Donald Trump didn't serve in the military. He received a medical draft deferment for bone spurs to avoid serving in the Vietnam War, reportedly as a favor to his father. Do you find that shameful, too?
I think that Donald Trump didn't serve in the military, but he didn't lie about it, Dana. I've known Donald Trump for a long time. He really honors our veterans. He honors me for my service. Donald Trump didn't lie about serving in the military. He didn't say that he went to.
Look at all the pushback. That's probably what Greg is about to say. But yeah, she got a lot of pushback for everything when it comes to Republican interviewers and stuff like that. But when it comes to these are softballs. This was an easy interview, and after putting people on hold for so long, thumbing the media for so long, thumbing the people for so long, this is the interview she's willing to give. Bring another person that's going to take up. So that's why some say the interview was 18 minutes. Yeah. So Ariel, exactly. Trump didn't lie. Also Tim Walz. So Tim Walz cares more about kids getting shot and being around guns in school is more important than putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. What the whoop whoop woo? Blaze your mama. What needs to be addressing is what really matters in the country. Instead, he's trying to sound smart and sounds just like Harris. Dumb. I'm pretty sure we all agree with that. That's real. I mean, it's just really crazy. I kind of knew the interview wasn't gonna be HBO TV. Especially with CNN doing it. That kind of told you everything you needed to know right then and there. CNN was doing the interview. It's not gonna be much. So anyway.
And she just absolutely bombed this answer. Take a look.
Oh, nothing works on this acne.
Hi. Who? I'm a licensed dermatology provider from Cure.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
I just want to say, I just want to say, the key word in this is Green New Deal. All right. Keyword. That's what Dana Bash asked.
I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still said, quote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal.
Green New Deal.
And in 2019, you said, quote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
In 2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that,
You see her reading? Those the cheat notes she need, like she asked for to have against Trump.
can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years.
Maybe she's just searching her memory bank.
Investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the 100,000 new clean energy jobs we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to...
That's why I mentioned about the Green New Deal. Now, Dana said the Green New Deal, she kind of slipped. She just tied it together and said, because people need to understand this. When you want to know what power Kamala Harris has had, she has had power. As a matter of fact, when it comes to two of the most devastating things she has done, she had more power than Joe Biden at the time. And so I'm saying that because it was up to her. We know they disguised it as the Green New Deal. Remember that? There was a disguise, but they couldn't write it in the law that way. So she just slipped. She slipped by saying Green New Deal, and then she just tied it in and called it what it accurately got billed as, the Inflation Reduction Act. So we all know the tying vote has come to Kamala a couple of times. And I'm going to tell you what the other vote was. Yep. Inflation reduction. She slipped. So Inflation Reduction Act, and Dana Bash had already said Green New Deal, which was a mistake. Dana Bash just called it that because she know that's what it really was. AOC and all of them, climate people has been pushing the Green New Deal since Trump. They've been trying to get it through. Green New Deal, Green New Deal, Green New Deal. So they had to trick the American people. They tricked everybody and called it the Inflation Reduction Act. And the vote came down to Kamala, and boom, it passed. Now, another time is when you people hear her copying Trump. It's so funny on the one of the new what is it called? one of the new Trump was doing a stand-up last night, a rally last night, and he said, I think we need to actually give Kamala a MAGA hat, because she's basically starting to take all of Trump's positions. But the other thing that she signed, I had to bring that up because now she's actually saying no tax on tips. And so the other tying vote that came down to nobody but Kamala. Kamala had more power than anybody in the country. Whether they put these 88,000 new IRS agents to make sure tips got taxed, to make sure Deja got taxed if she decided to sell a cup of coffee, to make sure Ariel got taxed if she sold something on eBay, to make sure Jonathan couldn't even sell anything, to make sure whatever you did, the government had in. That vote came down to none other than Kamala Harris, and she passed it. So for her to turn around now and act like I don't want to tax people to get tips, that's a hypocrisy movement. And we need to understand, when she had the opportunity, I got to say it, when she had the opportunity, when the vote came down to her, the most powerful person in the world at that point was not Joe Biden. It comes down to the VP to make the deciding vote. Republicans held strong. Democrats held strong. It came down to one vote, and all of a sudden, you know who that vote goes to? The VP. Will we put 88,000 people out there to make sure we put tax on tips, to make sure people are afraid to make money on Cash App, to make sure that every little dime and nickel that is, like they said in the movies, if they sell a nickel on the street, I want in. They sell a dime on the street, I want in. That's the government. The government is playing the dope game. Plain and simple. Yeah. The government is playing the dope game. Jonathan, what's up, my brethren? All right, let me see. Oh, man. The Frankenstein team. All right, good. Waiting to see Trump speak in Arizona. I mean, Pennsylvania. My bad. Oh, he in Pennsylvania tonight. Drill, baby, drill. Yeah, man. So I had to say that she had the deciding vote, and she voted to make sure those 88,000 new IRS tax people was able to get on our ASSs. Yes. And they will do it effectively. They did it. I was one of the people. I was scared of Cash App. I don't even got it no more. You make a move over $500, they want in. They want to know about it. You know, so Kamala Harris did that. So I just said that to say, when she says she's not going to tax tips, don't believe it. The deciding vote came down to her, and because of her, just her, she could have said, nah, we're not going to do that. So because of her and her alone, those 88,000 IRS agents got hired just for that task alone, as if we wasn't having enough problems out of the IRS.
Invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw that you said, oh, okay, I get it now?
What I have seen is that we can...
See, Dana Bash is actually trying to help her. The easiest answer there was, yeah. I seen some data that helped me change my mind. I mean...
We can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Okay.
Yeah, so notice how Kamala Harris is doing so bad when it comes to answering this question. She's so incoherent that Dana Bash is trying to feed her potential answers to make her answer make sense, okay? Because Kamala Harris is saying things that logically do not make sense. Like, for example, okay, in 2019, she says, hey, I want to ban fracking on day one, okay? And then she says, well, I don't want to ban fracking anymore, but my values have not changed, right? When pressed on her changing her position on fracking, okay, now all of a sudden she doesn't want to ban fracking, but she says her values haven't changed. Now, she claims that she changed her position in 2020 when she was vice president. However, that is a lie. She never actually definitively came out here and changed her position. She just stated, okay, during the vice presidential debate that Joe Biden would not ban fracking. She did not say that Joe Biden and I would not ban fracking. She said that Joe Biden would not ban fracking. Take a look.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking.
Yeah, so clearly in 2020, Kamala Harris did not come out and say that, hey, I don't want to ban fracking anymore, right? She didn't say that was her personal belief. She said that, hey, that's something that Joe Biden doesn't want. She's going to be tough on the border because, again, according to her, her values haven't changed.
Okay. Another issue, big one, is immigration. As vice president, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
Northern part of Central America.
The northern part of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill.
Now, I want to say something. Because, see, that's how this just the Green New Deal. A lot of people talk about that. I got a lot of, I'll just say close people. I wouldn't want them to see this one day and say that I talked about them. So I got family members that how did I say that? But I got family members who love to say this. What they don't say, because they probably watch too much CNN. And so they like to blame Donald Trump for that. But what Donald Trump warned the Republicans about was, this is what you did with the Green New Deal. You allowed them to dress it up, and they call it an omnibus bill. And what that means is we can call it something, but we can give it a whole lot of more money to all of these other things, like all of these, transformer movement stuff, to get more stuff passed for to start, messing with our kids in school, all kind of things that don't have nothing to do with the border. So here it is, you'll pass another $1 billion, $2 billion, $10, whatever it is. And then you find out only 500 million went to the border. And the rest of it was spread about in all kind of other programs that the Republicans knew nothing about because they got the bill to them at midnight. The Democrats play some dirty games. And so that's why Donald Trump asked them to kill that bill or told them it wouldn't make sense. And the other thing is, Donald Trump can't kill nothing. Remember, he's not the president. All he could do is give his advice to the Republicans. And we already know the rhinos of the movement did not support Trump. But they also listened and they thought it made a lot of sense once they thought about the mistake they made with the Green New Deal, because they can blame it on the Democrats all they want. They snuck it in there and called it something else, but the Republicans in the end had to help pass it. And so some of them just as crazy, and that's what separates Trump from a lot of them. You got the rhinos who get in the way, and man, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock, and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
So you would push that legislation again. I just want to ask
Not only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
It's just crazy to me that she keep acting like she's not the sitting vice president. She keeps telling us what she would do, and in 4 years, she's done absolutely nothing. I mean, this lady is literally telling us, if you give me 4 more years, I'll actually do something. But I won't do it right now. I won't use none of the power I have right now. Joe Biden is effectively gone, missing. So, I mean, this is the time. Not tell us if we vote for you, you'll do it. Do it now. Why you ain't do it in day one? Like everybody say, your day one was like 3 years ago. Almost 4 years at this point. Deja Vu said, dang, I'm surprised Dana ain't lose an eye by Kamala Pinocchio nose growing by the second. I see it. Yes, it is. Man, playing softball, then, oh yeah, they playing softball, then Pee-wee team back in the 1990s. That's true. That's crazy, man. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. I mean, this is the interview that we all waited for. I mean, like, really? Is that what we waited for? Oh, man. Whew. Listen, I like to tell my people in Florida, it's not a game. I think I put a couple of links if you check the description for my brother Anton Daniels and the brother the Black Conservative, that video if you want to watch the whole thing. Like I said, I recommend those guys to you, because they bring this as a living every day, not just like me, every now and then. But thank you for the support. Thank you for the liking, the sharing, the subscribing, and let's go. I've been talking about the gangs in Colorado. If you follow and if you heard them over the course of time, I spoke about what's been said in Chicago about how they are recruiting gangs. They are recruiting gang members. Matter of fact, a cop, there are like 3 cops. Let me see. 1 cop got killed and 2 others. One fighting for his life and another one two fighting for their lives, and one got killed last night. And the kids say a gang made me do it. I'm just now that's what the kids say. I'm just that's his testimony. But I'm just saying, in Chicago, we spoke about how the gangs are actually trying to recruit other gang members, turning out the city. This is a takeover, effectively. And people in Florida, I say Florida, I'm gonna call out Florida. We are tripping, slipping. We think because we're in the South and we don't see it and it ain't right in our face, we don't even give it no credit. We look at it just like we look at the report on the hurricane, and we just say, we don't never get hit. Oh, we don't never get hit. People think because it's not here, it's not happening, and it can't happen. All you have to do is look around. St. Pete just ready to turn blue. I don't know how everybody missing that. Florida might be ready as well, but overall, Florida's still Trump country a little bit. So Florida might stay red for a while, but I doubt it. Not the way the Democrats playing, because DeSantis can't run no more. The Democrats playing some dirty ball, man. So anyway, because St. Pete, they can't wait. I can see it. You can see it. It's all around you. They just waiting. They just waiting on DeSantis to leave, and it's gonna be here. A lot of the stuff that we not giving any credit to, any real thought to in Florida, is happening in other states, and it's coming to a theater near you. And you're gonna be surprised, and you're gonna be surprised, and you're gonna be surprised. And there are gonna be people like myself. I don't like to say I told you so, but in the end, it might not be a bad thing to hear from time to time.
So this is brand new video obtained here at Fox 31. This is at an apartment complex in Aurora showing men with long guns and pistols in their hands. This is at an apartment building, and a pretty concerning video that is now going viral on social media. Yeah. National news is picking this up, but we've been following this locally for weeks, and we have questions.
City council members and people living in the area claim this is part of a gang takeover in several parts of the city. Those claims now getting national attention. So we wanted to go right to the mayor. Mayor Mike Kaufman joins us live via Zoom this morning to talk more about this situation. First of all, thank you for taking some time out. I know you're dealing with a lot. When you see this video, what do you think? Because I don't live in Aurora, but I think to myself, holy cow, if I lived in Aurora, I'd be freaking out right now.
Well, it's, let me put it in context first. This concern that it's 3 apartment complexes, but that's not to minimize it at all. But we're the 51st largest city in America. We're 400,000 in population. And so, but there are 3 apartment complexes that we believe in, where there is a concentration of Venezuelan migrants, and the criminality is unfortunately followed. So we have a task force.
Now, just for the record, I'm just saying, I'll make this brief. He did say Venezuelan migrants. That's what he said. Keyword, migrants. I mean, what? Keep in mind, something they may cover or may not. Like I said, it's real-time reactions. Right now, we're talking about Anton Daniels, another great brother to subscribe to. And he covered a lot of different things. A successful brother. I recommend him. But one of the things they may cover or may not is these guys, these migrants, robbed a lot of gun shops first. 6 of them or 8 at the time. At this time. So I mean, they getting armed, and they take. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, who gonna stand up to that? One other thing I want to say that the lady in when we covered the Chicago thing, and we had some I didn't have, but I covered it through some people that do this for a living as well. Deja vu, that's a strong statement. Let me read this strong statement. Hold on. Oh yeah, about the. Oh yeah, yeah. All right, Saint Pete people seem like they don't have no sense when it comes to what's really going on in our communities, not just the country. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and so one of the things that this lady who does this for a living, and I forgot the name of her organization, but she said when she was talking about how the youth are telling her and about gang people trying to recruit, so gang recruitment from different migrants and really strong, and she said that there are actually starting to be fear rumors, basically saying for a fact that the war, she was talking about how we always said it's going to be a race war, and people always thought a race war. And this lady said word for word, the race war is probably definitely going to happen, but they're going to make sure it's not black and white like people always thought. It's going to be blacks against the migrants or Hispanic, not Hispanics, but whoever's coming across that border. And in my opinion, I like to say, as a collective, they are one race. When they let these people in, you right now their race is just migrants. That is how they're being treated by the government. So they don't care where they come from. In this case, in Denver, Colorado, they're dealing with Venezuelans, I guess, in these few apartments. The mayor said it's 3. And even though he's telling the truth, he's still trying to downplay it. That's amazing.
With local, state, and our federal law enforcement partners working on it to root these criminals out and get them off the streets.
You know what's nice about having Farrah and Farrah work on your injury case?
But it certainly concerns me. But it is in 3 apartment complexes.
The amount of stuttering that's happening here is it's unacceptable. That's number one. And number two, this is just absolutely mind-boggling that this is happening in the United States of America right before our very eyes. And these people think that we just supposed to lay down as voters. And, I know that I'm maybe not supposed to be concerned because I don't necessarily live in Denver or Aurora or any of these places that was signing letters and writing love letters over to the Biden administration as far as the migrant crisis, because New York has got a multi-billion-dollar deficit. Chicago has a $982 million upcoming shortfall, and they've been in the red for a long time, and they got their whole stuff being ran by a school teacher. Y'all about to vote in Tim Walz, another school teacher. Got Kamala Harris fumbling on CNN. And so I'm not necessarily supposed to be concerned about Denver because this is the bed that they made, and so now they have to lay in it. But this is a small part of a larger problem that is growing in America because multiple different places are being taken over by Venezuelan gangs. And Trump was absolutely right. Trump was right. He said it. He said they letting out their jails, because when I did some research, and I was talking about this on the Millionaire Morning Show on a completely different clip, and I was like, yo, what is the name of this gang? Because they actually have a gang and everything like that. And I said, what's the name of this gang? And how was this playing out? They said, man, that is a jail gang. That is a gang that is proliferating and has already been popping off in Venezuela and stuff. And so when they broke into the gun shops and then they start to execute on this type of time, the people over there in Aurora and in Denver, they're not ready for it. Now, the Denver mayor is saying something completely different, so we're going to get to him on a whole nother clip. But the point that I'm making is that this is unheard of on American soil. And it first starts with our federal government and the Biden-Harris administration, in which she jumped on CNN and she didn't answer the question. She did not be accountable for what it is that they left the borders open. She flip-flopped on every other issue. And then all of y'all Democratic mayors and governors joined in on the fight and made y'all self-sanctuary cities instead of aligning on the border. They fought Trump tooth and nail his entire administration, but he largely was successful in making sure that he stemmed the migrant crisis. When they got into office, they had an inflation rate of 1.2%, and the country just completely went to shit over the last 3.5 years. And now y'all talking about y'all want to vote her back in based off of identity. Get the hell out of here, bro. This is insane.
Now, you and I talked about this issue of apartment complexes.
What he said. Yeah.
Migrant gangs. We talked about this at length last week. And I did ask you if you knew about armed people going around and intimidating people at these complexes. And you said you did know that this was happening to the apartment building owners, and to an extent that we knew it was happening to people who lived there. But my question is, when did you first see this video? And when did you know it was to the extent that we're seeing in this video?
Well, we've known, well, you know, I think I put out a couple weeks ago that we had
true.
Man, that's crazy. I don't even know if that's the truth because I haven't seen this, but that's insane that he would even say a couple of weeks. Like, are you kidding me, man? This is crazy. What?
On the task force, we knew at that time that we had formed the law enforcement task force to root them out, that that there was intimidation going on, and part of that intimidation certainly involves individuals with weapons.
Mr. Mayor, why Aurora? You know, I've got people from across the country sending me messages. What's going on, Aurora? Why are these gangs in Aurora? Do we know why they came here? Why they seem to be taking over some spots in our city?
I can tell you why, but let's see if he's gonna tell.
So I'm trying to trace it back right now. I can tell you, you know, some things that are unconfirmed that I believe are true. I think we know that these gang elements are attracted to concentrations of Venezuelan migrants. That's unfortunately, there's a lot of criminality in Venezuela. It's basically a failed state. The role of the police department there is to.
You know, it's funny listening to him say how bad Venezuela is. And just remember, Venezuela was one of the richest countries in the world 20, 30 years ago. You know, one of the most beautiful countries in the world. But I said that just to let you know that is communism and socialism. And that is what Kamala Harris is pushing. Just remember that. Just remember that.
Right.
Is to protect the government. It's not to protect the people. And so, unfortunately, some of these criminal elements have come up with the migrants. It's my understanding that Venezuela does not share criminal histories with the United States, and so it's very different.
Well, we just let them in the borders.
Them at the border, yes, they've been allowed to come in anyway. People can cross the border illegally, be arrested, and then receive humanitarian parole. To apply, they've applied for political asylum until their cases can be adjudicated. It's a terrible combination where they come into the country. They don't have access to a work permit for 6 months. They don't have resources. I think what happened, and again, I'm trying to trace this back, is that what happened is we had, you know, we have some buildings that unfortunately are pretty run down, have a high vacancy rate or relatively low rent. And I think somebody placed them there. Is it an agency of the federal?
Harpo, who is these random somebody's days that place these Venezuelan migrants? So wait a minute, they get a get out of jail free card. They come over here into the United States of America. They get a free ride. They get food, shelter, healthcare coverage. That migrant, that Venezuelan gang member, he was looking pretty healthy. He was looking pretty, you know what I'm saying? Dad bod, the whole 9 yards. He quarterbacking the thing. He on a cell phone. Hey, yo.
Yeah.
These mushrooms make you feel better.
They didn't look like they was going
a lot better.
Either.
Yo, we need to get this popping off, so on and so forth. Run up in there, take that, bust it down. They ain't paying their rent. They just.
It's crazy because this guy he was talking. He was saying everything if you listen to him, but the bottom line is he was still afraid to just come out and call Joe Biden and Kamala Harris out. But he said everything we needed to hear. It's a terrible situation. They're letting these people over here. We don't even have a relationship with Venezuela like that. You know, so it's like, oh man, this got to be the craziest thing ever. That's why Cheatham laughing. They got to be laughing. They got to be laughing. All of the other leaders got to be laughing.
Completely took over. Police just let them rock out. Federal government, call in the National Guard. Call in the Army. We sending all of
like my kids say, stop the cap. Liars. You know it's crazy. Stop the cap. I mean, it's crazy. I'm gonna get back to Anton because the brother be breaking it. But it's crazy. Just imagine. I'm listening to this and I'm like, that man said, did he say 2 weeks? Are you kidding me? In the words of David Harris Jr. Are you kidding me? 2 weeks. And Anton, I mean, and according to what Anton, he probably been covering this a lot longer. And I actually covered it over 2 weeks ago. So I'm gonna call it like Anton called it, and he probably lying. You know, but sometimes it takes things to get a little bit longer to get to the mayor. So it's possible. I don't know. But 2 weeks is too long. That's too long as well. 2 weeks, and they still operating real good. I mean, they got a real full going operation right now. Wow. Wow.
These resources over into these other countries, but we can't control what's happening on American soil? Get out of here.
Government perhaps using some of our local nonprofit partners here as a conduit, because the city of Aurora took a position early on that we were not going to participate in the migrant crisis. We were not going to provide taxpayer support, and we were not even going to be a conduit for federal dollars to come in to provide assistance. This is not our problem. This is a problem created by the federal government at the border with bad policy. And so it's the federal government that needs to solve this problem, not the city of Aurora. But somehow we've gotten this problem. We inherited this problem involuntarily. And so I'm trying to walk it back and say, I believe that these people just didn't go there on their own. I think somebody put them there, and I'm trying to find out right now. And I have a meeting with.
He definitely calling it out. Got to give him that.
A leader really understands the nonprofit organizations that provide assistance. Who provided this assistance? Who made this decision to put them there?
Even though he calling it out, this is still something they should have. This didn't just happen overnight. This didn't happen overnight. Like he said, he didn't want to be involved. So when he saw it happening, he didn't want to call Joe out. He didn't want to call Kamala out. This did not just happen. And there's no way you as a mayor didn't notice it happening. I mean, come on, man. Nah. But sometime it ain't when you stand up, it's if you're gonna stand up. And yeah, let me see. All right, he made a great point. If the governor can't control the country, how they gonna right. You're right. Are you talking about which one? Is that Anton or the mayor of Colorado? Or so wait a minute. Not of Colorado, but maybe Denver, whatever city. Let's see.
Nobody has any answers, and nobody wants to be accountable for what it is that we see happening in our American cities. And you are now witnessing, and I've been documenting this for well over 2 years now, you are now witnessing the fall of America. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that his message is acceptable, or do you think that there's more accountability that needs to go before we vote somebody else into office? I love you. I appreciate you.
That's really, really heavy there. I mean, that's kind of like why I like this little setting, my little backdrop there, because that's what they having the citizens to where our backs are like up against the wall. And it's like, we got to be prepared. I mean, look at this. That's crazy. I can't imagine a gang coming down our road like that. Most of us would be dead. You can last for a little while, but with that type of gunpowder, you got to have that type of power that matches that type of power. And if they hit some pawn shops, that means it's a few of them with that type of power. Come on, man. I'm just keeping it solid. I'm just keeping it solid, man. Whoa. You guys come down some streets, man. These houses will be empty. That's why they got people that had to come out of, prisons and all these kind of places, because they needed people with no sense at all, no compassion. They don't even understand you when you talking about you got a son or a daughter you trying to raise. Please, they don't understand that. That's why they essaying people out in broad daylight. There's no cap, as they say. Stop the cap. Yeah, man. Yep. Great point. If the governor can't control our country, how are they going to handle the foreign? If the federal government, my bad, can't control our country, how are they going to handle foreign issues? That's why they can't handle them right now. Yeah, this is crazy. It is crazy. Wow. I just keep trying to imagine that and not even really imagine that. I don't want to. But the reality of it is that could happen anywhere. People, I done heard a couple of people say, man, they wouldn't do that. Oh, they'll catch hell. Man, bro, come on, man. Them people got heavy artillery, man, 6-pawn shops. I'm talking about no understanding, no mercy, no understanding, man, no compassion. Man, come on, man. Woo. Yeah. I just like to, I'm just hoping at some point the independents of the world and the Democrats would actually start to be offended, start to not feel like it's a problem to ask a question or to acknowledge that this ain't good. I like what the brother said at the end. This is effectively what we are seeing right before our eyes. A fall of America. I mean, seem like they're trying to drive us. They are driving. They are actually driving the vehicles that is leading this nation to fall. That is actually saying some things that would happen prophetically. This nation is effectively thumbing its nose to God. Whatever title, religion you want to put it up under, spirituality, I think religion is the word. This nation is effectively thumbing its nose to God, and they letting in some people that can show you. Not just through the people they letting in, but it's so many different ways that this process has started. And like in Denver, it didn't start last night. It didn't start 2 weeks ago. So I guess the question is, how many of us are going to suffer for the stupidity of the leaders of the nation? I pray to God for mercy, and I thank God for mercy. And that's all we can do. That's it. That's all we can do. God is good. I'm finna get up out of here. Man. Definitely share, like, and subscribe. Follow me. Download the tracks up on the Crown Dion on my music page. If you have that opportunity, like we almost always do. Sometimes it may be the night because some people are waking up, going to work. So good morning. Some people are getting ready to go to sleep. And good night. But if you have that opportunity, like we almost always do, to bless somebody, make sure that you allow yourself to be that vehicle of a blessing. It may be a morsel to eat, a dime, a nickel, a smile, a word of inspiration, encouragement. Be that vehicle. God is good. I'm out of here. Good night. Thank you. And man, I think it's important. People try to make it seem like these are not issues to be discussed in the family. I would actually beg to differ on that. because now more than ever is when your family need to know what's going on. If it make them mad, they'll be okay. Yeah, and you know, not an argument, but let them know. Keep on sharing that awareness. If God give it to you, let it go. Share it. They say don't cast your pearls upon the swine. Right? I know what that means. But sometimes it's only casting it upon the swine if you know for a fact you're wasting it. But when the people are up against such a powerful beast, sometimes they don't know. There are some people that actually watch CNN and they actually believe. There are some people that never hear the real truth. So, yeah. I mean, they're going to hear the truth. I'm talking about, you know, as far as this politics stuff, you know, especially in our black communities, our poor communities, we get fed by 10 different negative outlooks and perspective and news outlets, radio stations, all the black raccoon people that do the same thing all of the time. And they are on all of the stations. They come on in the mornings and they start praying about God. And then they start preaching to you politically and telling you what to do in your marriage. And then you look at their marriage and they can't even hold a marriage down. And we still look up to these people because somehow they convince you that because they are millionaires or very, rich people or whatever, and they keep getting these contracts, that is why they should be looked at as blessed people of God. But then they turn around and tell you that if a white man has money or another black man that don't support the way they do things, or a black woman or a white woman, they got their money from evil. It's very funny how that works. Very funny. And so poor communities, black communities, they're up against a totally different beast. And sometimes they are blinded by the onslaught of the Democratic agenda. And so it's unfortunate, but true. So we have to stay extra prayed up and don't look at it as casting your pearls upon the swine, because some of them don't know. And if you had an opportunity, don't be afraid to share it. I'm out of here. Crown Dion.